Hey guys, Coach Keith Kepner here. I'm going to do a fight prediction video for the Usyk Fury rematch. I did a very extensive fight study on their first fight. I got completely blocked by YouTube on it, and so I tried to cut it down. I cut an hour-long fight study down to 16 minutes, and it still got blocked. So only a few select people have seen it, I guess, in a few select countries that don't have the video blocked by YouTube. Anyway, so I've watched their first matchup a lot, and I have some thoughts about how they match up, different things I see. And I have 5 bullet points for both men, and I'm going to go through that about what, in my professional boxing opinion, they need to do to get the victory. Obviously, Usyk got the victory by split decision in their first fight, and what he needs to do to secure it, and then what Fury needs to do to erase that loss and make it right. First, I'm going to start off with Tyson Fury. And by the way, make sure you stick around for the end where I'm going to share my prediction for the rematch coming up this weekend. So, Fury, what he needs to do, first bullet point, is he needs to snap the jab, right? Shocking advice, I know, right? You never expect a boxing coach to say that you need a jab, but Fury's jab needs to be way more prevalent and sharper. When I was watching through the first fight, I thought about Larry Holmes. If he would get that Larry Holmes step, snap, whip jab and throw it with that type of almost pistol-like intention, then it's a different picture altogether. So he brings that jab, which I know his coach can help him do that. If he can bring that jab to this fight, it's going to be a big part of the victory plan. The second part is, and really this is all kind of almost like levels of importance, right? So the first two, the most important. Drive Usyk back, okay? In the first fight, he did this just a few times, and half the time he did it, it worked. It shut down Usyk, and it allowed him to land some of his best shots. Now, his best shots was the uppercut and then body shots. So driving back and body shots. A big guy like that coming forward to Usyk, something that he struggles with, I see, is he will sometimes just kind of fall backwards with the hands up, right? There's not like a distinct, specific step back. Now, there's a couple times where he did effectively counter on the way back, but I feel that if Tyson can keep a little bit of range as he drives him back. I know that sounds like two opposite things. Drive him back and keep range, right? Coach Keith, doesn't make sense. No, keep him at the end of your punches. Use the jab to do that. And keep him at that long man reach so that Usyk is not able to get the counters off as well, but still drive him back. All right. And then point number 3, Tyson needs to stay in the center of the ring. He let Usyk literally walk him to corners, right? Usyk did a great job. I'm going to talk about that with cutting down the ring and stuff like that. But Tyson Fury walked himself to corners. Geometrically, a corner is harder to get out of. You can do less things in than if you're in the center of the ring, right? Or if you're along the ropes, right? Because the way in nature a corner is, it's like this versus along the ropes, let's say, but he needs to stay off that, stay in the center of the ring. You can circle, absolutely. Stay in the center of the ring, push him back, then go back to the center of the ring and keep him at the end of your punches. Be serious is my second to last point for Tyson Fury. He said in the press conference afterwards, I believe, how much fun he was having and everything else. And like, yes, absolutely, this is an element of high-level boxing and elite level boxing to be able to have fun while you compete at a high level. That allows you to get in that right state of mind sometimes. But he needs to be serious. He needs to be serious, not waste time like he did, goofing off. That's not going to work. It's not going to be helpful against a guy like Usyk, and it's not going to help you get the job done. Then, outside of whatever he needs to do to stay loose and composed, but he needs to lock down and get to business. Then the last point is, and so it's the least important point, but man, I would like to see his corner get it together. And I'm not talking about, who is it, Sugar Hill, his main coach, his chief second, the dad, right? You got the dad and you got the coach. And who's the voice? In that corner, you got 2 voices going at the same time, basically, right? That's not helpful. It's not helpful in terms of execution. And there's a chief second for a reason. There's a principal, which is the fighter, and the chief second, which is the chief second. So therefore, everyone else needs to shut the hell up. You got those two people that you need to be concerned with. Who's the principal? Who's the chief second? Chief second needs to be Sugar Hill, and that's it. All right, get the dad out of the corner. Now, and you compose that or contrast that with Usyk's corner. Man, it's a lot more succinct. You got one guy talking. That's all you need. Because you got the fighter absorbing and seeing what he's saying, and you got the coach seeing what they're saying, and they know the fighter. And that's something else too, by the way, with this rematch and with me giving my advice is I don't intimately know both of these fighters, right? So that's why I'm giving 5 points for each, because out of those 5 are going to be the relevant things. Now, of course, if I was going to be coaching somebody, I wouldn't give them 5 things to think about, right? Or give them maybe 2, maybe 3 max, maybe only 1, because you know that person and you know their capabilities, just so many aspects of what's going on that you can more confidently double down on just a couple things, if not one thing. All right, now moving on to Usyk's need to do's. The first thing is to win the jab battle like he did. A lot of people think that Southpaw and Orthodox, they can't jab each other. Usyk, I'm happy to say, I always love when people do this, shows all the basic armchair boxing people wrong. All that classic folklore, oh, you can't jab if you're opposite stance, all sort of stuff. No, Usyk found under Tyson's jab with a jab to the body of his own. He found over Tyson Fury's jab, and he found inside of Tyson Fury's jab. Okay, he also double, triple jabbed a few times. Worked very effectively. So he needs to do that more. He needs to do more double and triple jabs. And finding over, under, and around to land it. The slow cutoff. That's my point number 2. The slow cutoff. He did a masterful job of cutting that ring down nice and slow and efficiently, right? Just like almost like Joe Louis. And sure, he bounced a little bit here and there, so a little bit more than what Joe would do, but it was a slow, methodical, just cutting off, applying pressure in a controlled fashion. Now, number 3, if Fury pushes him back, okay, so if Fury does some of the things I'm talking about for Fury's list, then Usyk needs to be able to take that controlled step back, 1 step back, a half step back, and counter, all right? Or circle, but he needs to be able to stay in close enough range. There was a couple times, one time when he countered, or rather, excuse me, 2 times he countered very effectively with a 3-2, with a very slight step back as Tyson was trying to come at him. Tyson got a little bit too close, a little bit too open, and got nailed. But then there's another time where Usyk was getting attacked and, just kind of did his fall back and tried to jab, but it was delayed because the feet were not with him at all. And he was in a position where he just really wasn't able to throw the punch quick enough to actually make a effective counter. And then actually rolling back to the first one, win the battle of the jab, he did an effective job as well of jabbing as Tyson was trying to start some punches. Again, just brilliant thing. The jab is one of the greatest counter punchers, orthodox or southpaw. Doesn't matter. Your same stance, opposite stance. The jab is one of the most effective and important counter punchers or counter punches. All right. Then we have catch the uppercut. Yes. So like I mentioned earlier, Fury's best punch was that right uppercut, sneaky shot. Usyk, because of his standard just high guard type position that he is in, he is vulnerable for it. And also, again, if he is jabbing, he's vulnerable for a longer guy to just rip the uppercut. And that's where he was able to shoot the jab and almost shut down the uppercut by snapping Tyson's head back. And once he does that, kind of going back to my first point, he needs to come back with that the left hand, straight left hand. Once you got someone's head controlled and frozen for a second with that jab, you got to come back. And you'll see if you watch through that fight, there's moments where Tyson's head is snapped. And he doesn't come back with the left hand. And he gets him with the left hand, other points off of the 3, right off of the hook, the lead hook. But what he needs to do is he needs to catch. He needs to catch. Now, the first one he gets hit clean by in the first fight, the first uppercut that Tyson Fury lands. Very clean. Didn't even see it. So he needs to be looking, obviously. But then the second was Usyk actually tried to get the hand in front to catch the uppercut, and the uppercut came in a slightly different trajectory. It almost looks like, but what it was actually, from me watching it over and over again, is Usyk being too square when he caught. So he jabbed and caught, and he was over here, and the pathway for the uppercut came here. Versus if he was sided up, it's going to come right there. You have to, and that's one thing is you don't think about it with hand defense and with catching punches. That if you're sided up, it allows less lanes for punches to come. Now, so making the adjustment for that, which I think I know he definitely can. And then the last one, just very important concept playing into the nuances of this fight, is for Usyk to not accept clinches. There are moments in this first rematch, or first fight rather, where he did a good job of not accepting the clinch. But there were a few moments, and Tyson Fury didn't do it a lot, to Tyson's credit, because like anyone knows that watches my stuff, according to the Association of Boxing Commissions, clinching and excessive holding is illegal, so it's not something you should do, but it happens. And he should do what he did in this first fight and not accept the clinches the vast majority of the time, and try to work out of it, because that's the key things for victory. All right, so those are the 5 points for Usyk. Gave you the 5 for Fury. Now, to wrap up, as promised, well, before I do that, if you enjoy my content and enjoy this video, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. So comment below if you think I'm dead wrong or right. I challenge and encourage you, though, because big fights, they attract a lot of fanboys. So just don't be a fanboy. Okay, what I mean by don't be a fanboy, don't just be someone that's like, oh, well, I'm British, so I love Tyson Fury, or I'm Ukrainian, so I love Usyk. This type of stuff is just nonsense. Okay, try to step out from your emotion. I know we all like boxing, and it's fun and entertainment. It's sports entertainment, but if you're really that into it, maybe you should watch like in that way of being a fanboy. Maybe you should get into WWE or something like that, or some professional wrestling stuff, because this is a sport, and these are two game guys, and anything can happen. All right, I can be dead wrong on my prediction. All right, I've definitely been wrong before, and I could be wrong this time. All right. Now, also a great way to support the channel, though, gang, is buy me a cup of coffee, because I'm up here late at night making this video after a long day at the gym training fighters, getting about 5 or 6 guys ready for fights coming up. And buy me a cup of coffee with a super thanks. Go down below. If you don't see it right away, kind of scroll off to the side. It's that heart with a $sign. Boom. Helps me out, helps the channel out, and helps me produce more of these videos. All right. So here is my prediction. I'm going to say it's going to be a unanimous decision for Usyk. That's what I'm going with, guys. Usyk. I know it's an easy one almost in a way to say, because he got it the first time, but it was a split. I think he will come back even better. Kind of what I saw him do against Joshua, and just could pick up where he left off for round number 13, right? Onward and upward, to do the next 24 rounds, or a total 24 rounds against Tyson Fury. Fury has definitely come back in rematches, as we know, like with Deontay Wilder, with a different game plan and better, which is where I'm saying some of these things are going to come into play, and Usyk needs to have answers for it. We also don't know when the clock's going to run out on either guy. Fury, you can definitely say, is the less stable guy. So that's where there's more danger or more possibility. If you had to bet money on it, which is kind of how I make my predictions, if I had to bet money on it, I bet it on Usyk. And Usyk does have, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, he does have way more amateur experience, way more time in the ring, and it shows. So even though he is a smaller guy, that experience difference does show. And barring him getting caught by a punch he doesn't see, I believe that he will get the unanimous decision win. But nevertheless, I know it's going to be a great fight, guys. Make sure you tune in and watch it. I'm going to watch it. And I appreciate you watching this video. Make sure you check out my deep dives that I do on boxing technique, my fight study videos that I do. Subscribe to the channel. Comment below your thoughts. Click the like button. And again, consider buying me a cup of coffee. Appreciate you.